Alright, so I wanted to do a real quick video on how to make the automatic doors. And what I want to do is start off by going into, not the 3D game kit, but our snaps prototyping. And I want to go to the structure. Under structure we have doors and windows, and I'm just going to say, let's just grab deck door number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and drag one of those in here. And I'm going to reset my transforms. And so here is our deck door. All right. And because this is going to be will eventually turn into a prefab, what I want to make sure of is that it is zeroed out. And we'll just leave deck door snaps 002. Let's just change this to auto door model. And what I want to do is up here, go ahead and do a game object create empty, and I will reset that as well so it's zeroed out, and call this auto door. Okay, and it's just going to be a container that we'll use for the other thing, the door itself. So what I'm going to do is head up to the top here, and then here's our auto door model, and I'm going to nest it inside of auto door. All right, because I want to kind of keep this all as one container. So our auto door model, it needs to be set to layer of environment so that our character can actually contact it. And to make sure we're going to do this right, what we want to make sure we have is, let's go with walls. And we'll do a door frame. There's a couple of different ones. This will work. And I'm just going to drag this in here too. There we go. So now I have a door and a door frame. I can reset this and then kind of move it. Let's turn snapping off and just kind of line that up like that. Okay. So what we're going to want to have happen is have this door raise and lower. And that's going to require an animation. So what I'm going to do is go to my animation tab, and I'm going to create, and I'm going to call this one auto door and we'll just say open. Okay, and then we're going to add a property, transform, position. I don't need 60 samples. I'll just change that to something like, let's go with 10. And then I'm going to slide my keyframe, slide my position down to 10. And then we want position Y. And let's try 3. Okay, 3, that looks pretty good up at the top. And if we look, it now plays an animation just like this. Okay, so if we hit play, okay, so now it's going to come back down again. All right, so what do we have? Well, let's zoom out. Oh, added another key way out here. Let's go ahead and make sure we delete that. Okay, so now we only have the 2 keys. You can see how it's gray up here, so it's just going to be that 1 second animation. Okay, if I really want to get technical on this, I can go to my curves, and we can click on our little handle here and say left tangent linear. And then we'll do right tangent linear, and that will even the animation out. So now it's going to move at a linear speed. So now we have our animation. Go ahead to our project here a moment, and we have our auto door container. We have our door model. And we need to add something that's going to activate this. So what I'm going to do is go game object, create empty, and go ahead and reset this again as well. And we're going to call this door trigger. Okay. And we need to add a physics box collider to this. You can kind of see, so you can see the box here. And let's try 2. 2 and say 3. and that gives me a box about this size. And let's center that up a little bit. Here we are. And we'll move it up a little bit too. So now what we have is, I'll go ahead and make Z, let's do Z4. So what I want to have is a trigger box, all right, that's in front and behind the door so that our player can interact with it and it'll cause the animations to play. For that, we're going to need to add a component. Okay, and what we'll need to do is we'll need to add some scripts that are already in this, and the scripts that we're going to need to add is we need a send on trigger. So let's do this one, send. And so you can see send game command, send on collision, and send on trigger. So we're going to need to have something, we want to send the command whenever we are whenever we enter the box, and whenever we exit the box. So I want to go to back to here's our door trigger, drag it all the way to the top. Keep on going. There we go. All right. So auto door trigger. Make sure its position needs to be kind of right where it's at. So we'll change that to a 1 and a 1. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, actually make this a little wider as well. Let's go 3 so that it kind of fills the door frame. So if the player was to come from the sides to go in or exit the door, it'll work that way as well. So here's our door trigger, and we want a send on trigger enter and a send on trigger exit. And we have an interactive object that we need to set up with this. So the interaction type, we want this one to be an open, and then on exit we want to close. And our object will be the auto door model. So we should be able to drag this in here. No. So what it's going to look for is a game command receiver. So what we need is our door model here, and we want a game command receiver here. And so I'm going to drag that, add this component here, and it is asking us for our senders. So if we go back to our door trigger, we can now drag these and drop these into our enter and exit. Okay, and so it's going to send open or send close to the door model. And now we want it to do something on this side. So on this side, what we need to do is we need to set up something with our animator in order to send these signals. So if we go to our animator for this door, we have an auto door open, and I'm going to Command D to duplicate that, and we'll call this one door close. And we will make a transition from this end and then make a transition to this end. And so you should be able to watch the door open, close, do its thing. Now we want the door to start closed, so I'm going to set this as the default state. Is going to be the door closed, and then it will open on trigger enter. Now to keep this from auto playing, we need some conditions, and our conditions need to be parameters. So I'm going to add a trigger. Call this one open, and then I'm going to need another trigger. We'll call this close. And so when we close to go open, we want to add open, and then when we're open and we want to close, we want to add close. Okay, so that will create our transitions, and it'll create a hold from where you have this one animation to playing to this next animation. Now, speaking of the animations, if we don't want this thing to be looping, we want it to play and stop. So let's go ahead and get rid of this, and there should be Let's go with animation clips. Yes. And if we look at the top, there we go. We should have, yep, we have auto door open. Auto door open. That's what we're going to have. And the loop time is disabled. Door open. Make sure the loop time is disabled. Yep. There it is. Auto door open. Loop time disabled. Okay. So now it should play once, stop, then go to the next one on the trigger. So back to the scene. So we have our door model, we have our door trigger, and we have our container. And on our door model, we have our game command receiver, and now we need a set trigger or set animator trigger script. So I'm going to type in set here. Make sure this is set up for scripts. And if we scroll down here, we'll see there is a set animator trigger, the script right here. So on our door model and our set, where'd you go? There you are, set animator trigger. I'm going to grab two of these. So we need, so I'll drag the two over. And the interaction type for one is going to be open. The other one is going to be close. And the trigger name needs to be match. So we'll do open and close. Remember, these are going to be strings, so make sure you maintain the being case sensitive. And we also need an animator, and the animator is easy. We just click on the little button, and it should be able to. And so click on the little button, and we are going to type in auto door model. Here, animator, again, auto door model. So we have this animator right here. We have these two parameters right here, and they're all tagged up with the set animator script. So the way this is going to work is we have our trigger. The trigger is going to send these events. This is the door now has a game command receiver, which I believe I can move. Let's move that up. And we have our colliders, we have our triggers. Things should be set to be environment. The one thing we do want to make sure we have is this layers nothing. Make sure we have that set to player, so that when the player comes in contact with the trigger, it will react. So what we want to do, last but not least, is make sure the door close speed is set to a -1 and the open is set to a 1. That way it will open and close. Also, there may be an issue where if the game command receiver here and the game command receiver here, one is empty, one that actually has our door trigger, just go ahead and we'll go ahead and remove this component, and then we'll give this a shot. Okay, so if we go to maximize on play, hit play. We enter the trigger box, door goes up. We leave the trigger box, door goes down. Working as designed.